Have you heard of this book about one of the greatest sporting events of the 20th century? I'm talking about The Fight by Norman Mailer. This is a book that looks at what was called the Rumble in the Jungle, which was a boxing fight in 1974 between Muhammad Ali, who was a boxing super legend, and his arch nemesis, George Foreman, another boxing legend. And the fight had been organized by Mobutu Sese Seko, who was the dictator of Zaire, which was what the Democratic Republic of Congo was known then. He wanted to promote his country as an oasis of modernity and the future and so on. And what better than to host a mega boxing fight in Kinshasa, the capital of the country. So the whole world, the whole sporting world, the whole journalistic world flew to Kinshasa to watch this fight, and it was going to be the biggest fight of the century, and so on. And Norman Mailer at the time was a leading American writer who was part of a nascent literary movement called the New Journalism, whereby you would write nonfiction. It would be kind of a journalistic story, journalistic investigation, but the writer would be part of the story, and it would be written almost like a novel, and there should be some misbehavior in there, and it should be a bit wild, and those were kind of the key criteria of the New Journalism. And Norman Mailer, being a bit of a psychopath in the sense that he was always getting into fights, and I think he shot his wife, and he was a bit of a crazy guy. He was perfect for this, and to go and cover this fight, this man's man event. He went down there with a bunch of fellow journalists and politicians and so on to witness this event. The book that then looks at the events of this fight, surrounding this fight, the build-up, the preparation, and he gets access to both the fighters and their entourages and their coaches and so on, is pretty good. And it's pretty good because it suffers from, I think, one fatal flaw that I find kind of unforgiving, which is it's quite a self-satisfied book, i.e. the whole time you're reading this, you feel Norman Mailer is quite chuffed with himself about what he's writing and that he's in this thing. It kind of deflates the event. You would want somehow to have a sense that he's covering something that is not so exclusive, but more democratic. It's hard to explain, but I know what I mean. When you're reading it, you're like, yes, you're so cool, you're hanging out with Muhammad Ali, and that got a little bit on my nerves after a while. So I think I would recommend this if you really love boxing. I didn't love it as much as I thought I would, and I'd love to hear from any of you if you did, what you thought of it. Let's get a discussion going, and in the meantime, keep reading. Thanks a lot, bye.